Side note, how much do you think people, let's say, struggle because they receive poor career advice in your practice that you see? Because I know in my practice, I see a lot of spending habits is developed through I don't like what I do. So for
Mhm.
somebody who was probably initially not given the best advice to somebody who sees people who may not be in the right career field for them, what is your thoughts on that?
Great question. So, that's honestly a lot of the work that I end up doing because I talk to so many people. Like I have people who are lawyers, doctors, teachers, accountants, like you name it. And to your question, you asked me earlier about managing burnout. Some of the people are managing burnout not because their job is too demanding, but it's because it's not aligned with who they are or their values. And so they're having to show up to work and put on this facade every day and pretend to be somebody that they're not to fulfill this position that's paying the bills. And then also because of capitalism, it's like, well, this job pays really well, and I'm not trying to do anything else. And they've also been like, well, you have to do X to get Y, and you can't always make money doing things that you love. And a lot of that honestly just comes from people not knowing how to monetize the things that they are like that they consider hobbies or their passions or whatever that might be. And so, to your point, as far as like bad career advice, I there's not enough emphasis on how versatile and lucrative a lot of careers outside of the ones that people just happen to know. Like everybody knows, oh, okay, you need to go. They've added IT into in there now because people recognize the importance of technology. But a lot of times it's like, oh, you need to be a doctor, you need to be a lawyer, and if they hear of something outside of those major fields or anything within the business field, it's like, oh, you ain't gonna make no money in that. And I was like, well, maybe depending on what I end up doing. But that's also is money a value of mine?
Mhm.
And so that's been a huge issue. Just horrible advice, honestly, uninformed advice, people who aren't even exploring the options out there. There's, especially with the way social media is set up, entrepreneurs. The other thing that people don't talk about is college isn't the only way to make money these days. Like it's honestly not even necessary depending on what you're going into.
Mhm.
I tell people all the time, I was like, you honestly need to see, are there certificates that you could get? The trades field are booming, but people aren't really talking about those as much or not looked upon, especially considering how much expensive college is.
Mhm.
I literally taught a class on academic and career planning, and I was in there with people who are actively in college telling them, if you don't need a college degree, don't get it. Like, don't waste your time, don't waste your money. It's a Ponzi scheme. I didn't like it. I was like, I'm here because I have to be. I can't do what I need to do without this degree. That is a fact. This field doesn't start until the entry level for us is a master's degree. That's the case for every other field. So honestly, figuring out what you want to do and like, is this something that's necessary is vastly more beneficial, and it will help align. You can monetize that, and there are ways that people are doing that. And thanks to social media, you can find people in groups that can show you how to do that work. And so, yes, I definitely feel like people would experience less burnout, less fatigue, less depression, anxiety, all these different things I'm seeing in my practice if they had careers that align more with who they are, what they value, and the things that they're interested in.